Today we have a very special guitar, and we are here with my dear friend Matteo that will help us hearing it just in a few moments. What we have today, it's one of the earliest Fender Stratocaster ever made in April '54. This particular guitar is one of the cleanest and most well preserved examples that exist nowadays. It was part of the first big artisan collection from John Entwistle from the band The Who. It's been part of several publications over the year. It was part of this beautiful calendar cover, and it was of course featured in all the André Ducossoir books, was featured in Werner's list, and it was part of a lot of other publications. If Matteo will now turn the guitar on the rear, you can see that this first production batch had the serial number impressed in the plastic back tremolo cover that, as you can see, was unique on its own because the holes to let the strings go through the tremolo sustain block on the bridge were a perfect circle. These would be changed shortly after, so by early '55 we got the now standard oblong holes here to facilitate the alignment of the string when you need to change them. Beside that, you see that the burst, particularly in this area here on the back, it's very unique because these first guitars were painted in a fashion that we now call today the no yellow sunburst or the one-tone sunburst. Basically, this is just the clear coat over the natural ash wood. And then what's being called in many names, the one that I love the most was the dark salem. So the color of the outer band of the burst, it was a very dark mixture of brown pigments and stuff. There was some black in it, but majority of it is dark brown. And that's why you see this in-between shade between the darker edge and the lighter center that makes this burst this beautiful. Of course, there was no serial number on the plate in this early production. We think that they made only a handful of these. There is a lot of debate whether they started 0100 or they started at 0001. So we don't know if they made 200s of these or 100s of these. Most likely it's just 100 of these, starting at 0100 to 0200. This is a very cool piece, and it has some peculiar features. One is still visible here on the back. Already by summer '54, the necks were very rounded here in the back. This early production is not. As you can see, it's quite sharp on the edge, although the neck is quite rounded already. The same thing goes for the contour, which is very particular and peculiar in this production and will be changed and more standardized just a few months after this thing was made. The neck is a huge boat neck, but very comfortable to play. And of course it has the earliest called backlight, but it's not backlight, it's polystyrene, molded plastics, and they are absolutely magnificent. And these add the peculiar translucency that only the first production had. I mean, there is a ton of features here. It's a no warm rod. The neck sit it tad higher than the later production, and the neck angle basically permitted the guitar to be set up without having a warm out for channeling the wires under the bridge. In just a couple of months later, they corrected the neck angle to facilitate a smoother action while playing, so they had to lower the height of this pickup here, but they couldn't because there were the wires underneath. So that's why the very first warm route that we see in summer '54 may have been by hand over a finished body with a chisel, and that's very fascinating, by the way. These guitars were often called prototypes, but they are not prototypes. The prototype phase of the guitar was developed before this release, so this was already a pre-production release. This thing is a masterpiece of design. It was for sure a team effort. Many people contributed to these, Freddie Tavares to George Fullerton. This 100% certain is that Leo Fender put all those information in one instrument, one final guitar. This is a really special instrument that I particularly love because it's one of those guitars that you can't make sound bad. It sounds just magnificent all the time. I'm, a bit moved and sad because this beautiful instrument is ready for its next chapter, and it will go all the way to Taiwan with my friend Mason that bought it. I couldn't be more happy for him because he's getting an incredible piece of music history, but also an incredible piece of Fender history that I'm sure it will be now in very good company with his amazing guitars. I'll leave Matteo with it so you can hear it and what to say. Let's hear it with Matteo. Thank you.